It is a sensation known to many. A delightful cold treat is enjoyed. Then suddenly a sharp pain arrives. This unwelcome guest is often called brain freeze. It can be quite startling, yet it vanishes almost as quickly as it appears. Brain freeze is a type of headache. The pain is usually felt in the forehead or behind the eyes. It is directly linked to consuming something very cold. This could be ice cream or a frozen drink. This phenomenon has a more formal name: sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia. It refers to the sphenopalatine ganglion, a cluster of nerve cells behind the nose. Despite the alarming name, brain freeze is harmless. It is not a sign of a serious problem. The body is simply reacting to a rapid change in temperature. The pain, though real, does not cause any damage. Knowing this can be reassuring. It is a fascinating, if fleeting, neurological event. The journey of a brain freeze begins in the mouth, specifically at the roof of the mouth called the palate. When something very cold touches these areas, a chain reaction starts. The palate is a sensitive region, rich in blood vessels and nerve endings. The coldness impacts these vessels and nerves. The nerve signal changes to the brain. This rapid cooling is the critical first step. The faster the palate cools, the stronger the reaction. This is why brain freeze often happens with slushies or ice cream eaten too fast. When the palate is suddenly chilled, the blood vessels there react swiftly. Their first response is to constrict, a process called vasoconstriction. The body tries to reduce heat loss. Narrowing the blood vessels helps limit blood flow to the cold spot. This conserves core body temperature. The anterior cerebral artery is one key vessel involved. It supplies blood to the front part of the brain. When the palate is chilled, this artery, along with others in the region, may constrict. This change in blood flow is significant. The body is essentially trying to protect the brain from the perceived threat of cold. This vasoconstriction is a very quick event. It happens within seconds of the cold stimulus. The body is efficient in its responses. The aim is to maintain stability or homeostasis. The sudden cold is a disturbance. The narrowing of blood vessels is an attempt to counteract this disturbance. It is the body's first line of defense against the thermal shock. However, this rapid constriction is only part of the story. It sets the stage for the next phase. The brain is very sensitive to changes in blood flow. The narrowing of vessels is a temporary measure, but it is a measure that has consequences. Following the initial rapid constriction, the blood vessels then quickly dilate. This process is called vasodilation. It is like a rebound effect. After narrowing to conserve heat, they expand. This happens as the body attempts to restore normal blood flow. It also helps to rewarm the chilled area of the palate. This rapid opening of the blood vessels causes a sudden rush of blood. Imagine a dam that briefly holds back water, then suddenly releases it. This surge of blood flow is quite forceful. The anterior cerebral artery, which may have constricted, now expands. This quick change from narrow to wide is significant. The increased blood flow is meant to be restorative. It brings warmth and oxygen back to the tissues. This sudden influx of blood is thought to be a major contributor to the pain. The rapid expansion can stretch the walls of the blood vessels. It can also put pressure on surrounding tissues. Pain receptors in the area are stimulated by this rapid change. The nerves nearby are highly sensitive to these changes. They pick up on this vascular turmoil and they send urgent signals to the brain. The sensations from the palate, including these rapid vascular changes, are carried by a major nerve called the trigeminal nerve. It is the fifth cranial nerve. It has three main branches. These branches supply sensation to the face, including the forehead, cheeks, jaw, and the inside of the mouth. The palate is richly innervated by branches of the trigeminal nerve. When the blood vessels in the palate constrict and then dilate rapidly, the trigeminal nerve endings are stimulated. These nerve endings are sensitive to temperature, pressure, and stretch. The sudden rush of blood during vasodilation can activate these pain receptors. The trigeminal nerve picks up these intense signals. It acts like a messenger, carrying these signals from the palate towards the brain. The trigeminal nerve also carries sensory information from other parts of the head, including the meninges, which are the membranes covering the brain. The nerve fibers from the palate travel alongside fibers from other head regions. They all converge as they transmit their messages. The stimulation of the trigeminal nerve is a crucial step. Without this nerve pathway, the brain would not register the events in the palate. The pain of brain freeze is essentially a nerve signal, a very strong and urgent nerve signal. The brain now receives these strong pain signals from the trigeminal nerve. However, a curious thing happens. The brain sometimes gets confused about the exact source of the pain. This is known as referred pain. Referred pain is when pain is felt in an area different from its actual origin. The signals from the palate are, in a sense, misinterpreted. The brain attributes the pain to another area served by the same nerve pathway. Because the trigeminal nerve also carries signals from the forehead and temples, the brain often refers the pain to these areas. The intense activity in the nerve fibers coming from the palate is processed, but the brain maps it onto a more common or familiar area of pain perception. This is why brain freeze is typically felt in the head. It is not felt in the roof of the mouth where the cold stimulus occurred. The brain itself does not actually freeze. The pain is not originating within the brain tissue. Instead, it is a pain signal related to blood vessel changes in the palate. This signal is then referred by the brain to the head. The rapid cooling of the palate is the primary trigger. This explains why certain foods and drinks are common culprits. Ice cream is a classic example, especially when eaten quickly on a hot day. Large spoonfuls deliver a concentrated cold shock. Slushies or iced coffee, when gulped down, have a similar effect. The straw often directs the cold liquid straight to the sensitive palate. These items are designed to be intensely cold. The temperature of the item itself plays a significant role. The colder the food or drink, the greater the potential for brain freeze. A slightly chilled beverage is unlikely to cause it, but a drink packed with crushed ice can. The greater the temperature difference between the mouth and the cold substance, the more intense the body's reaction. The vasoconstriction and subsequent vasodilation will be more pronounced. This leads to stronger signals from the trigeminal nerve. The speed of consumption is another critical factor. Eating or drinking slowly allows the palate to adjust more gradually. The tissues can warm the cold substance slightly before it hits the most sensitive areas. This reduces the shock. But when we are thirsty or enjoying a treat, we often consume it quickly. This rapid intake overwhelms the palate's ability to adapt. The most effective way to prevent brain freeze is simple. Consume cold foods and drinks slowly. Take smaller sips or bites. Allow the cold substance to warm slightly in the front of your mouth. This area is less sensitive than the palate. Warming it before it reaches the roof of your mouth can reduce the thermal shock. Patience is key when enjoying icy refreshments. This mindful approach can often avert the sudden onset of head pain. If you do feel the telltale signs of brain freeze starting, there are quick remedies. One common trick is to press your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Your tongue is warm. This warmth can help to counteract the cold on the palate. It can speed up the rewarming process. This may help the blood vessels return to their normal state more quickly. Holding it there for a few seconds can often provide relief. Another strategy is to drink a warm liquid, not hot, but warm. This can also help to quickly raise the temperature of the palate. A sip of lukewarm water or tea can be effective. This directly combats the cold stimulus. It helps to stabilize the blood vessels. In conclusion, brain freeze or sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia is a fascinating bodily response. It is a common experience characterized by sudden, sharp head pain. This pain occurs after consuming something very cold too quickly. It is a direct result of the rapid cooling of the palate. This cooling triggers a cascade of events. Blood vessels constrict, then rapidly dilate. This stimulates the trigeminal nerve. The brain then interprets these signals as pain. Often it refers this pain to the forehead or temples. This is a classic example of referred pain. The brain itself is not freezing. It is not in any danger. The sensation, though intense, is entirely harmless. It is also very temporary. Brain freeze usually resolves on its own within a few seconds to a minute. It is a fleeting moment of discomfort. Understanding the mechanism behind brain freeze can make it less alarming. It is a well-defined physiological process. The body is simply reacting to a sudden localized temperature change. This reaction involves intricate coordination between blood vessels and nerves.